Hi, so we're going to continue our discussion about Big Ideas 2023 through Ark Invest. Um, in the last lecture, we actually was discussing digital consumers, and then, of course, the previous one was artificial intelligence, and more importantly, how these are technologically converging, all of them in terms of digital consumers getting interest from artificial intelligence. One of the key aspects we're going to see this digital transformation moving forward is through digital wallets. And today is basically we're going to discuss the digital wallet portion. Now, what is a digital wallet? Digital wallet is literally your physical wallet turned into digital. Now, what does that mean exactly? What that means is that when you actually have, what are the few things in your wallet? I mean, that's cash, credit cards and debit cards, receipts, um, what we call contact cards or visiting cards, etc., and receive, more other kind of loyalty programs. All these five things, when are digitalized, can be shown into as basically a digital wallet. Now, of course, the two major platforms are Apple Wallet and Google Wallet as well. But this is more than that. Every single piece of those five things can be digitalized. And as these things gets digitalized and get stored into a digital wallet as compared to a physical wallet, we're going to see this digital transformation of wallets itself. It's clearly much more than that, but that's sort of the basic idea what digital wallets are. What they are really doing is they are disintermediating. What that means is that they're taking away the middleman. There is definitely always an intermediary between the bank and the seller, between the bank and the loyalty program, between the bank and the consumer. And every time there is always one intermediary. I mean, one of the biggest ones were actually Visa and MasterCard, right? Those were intermediaries that were doing that. American Express has a very different model, which is clearly more feasible towards digital wallet because they are bank and a processing service, because Visa is purely a payment processing gateway, so is MasterCard. But when we come to American Express, that's clearly more traditionally towards the digital wallet system, and that's one of the ways that people are increasing their holdings in American Express because they believe that they can win the digital wallet game faster than Visa and MasterCard because the payment processing systems are changing. You can see that there was a recent news in Amazon stopped, accepting Visa for some time, and blah blah blah, because they are trying to really negotiate some of these, processing fees with Visa. For the longest time, Costco never accepted credit card because it had 2.8%, fee, and they didn't want to pay that fee. And then Costco finally came to a conclusion with Visa and Mastercard at a very low processing fee. Then they allowed, accepting credit cards at Costco scores. However, when you look through this, when we're seeing is that intermediary, if that you take away, you have nearly $50 billion in cost savings. Literally, that's huge, and that's per year. That's not something like it's going to be something for one, 10 decade long. So there is consistently a huge margin that goes to these intermediary services. And once you take this disintermediating, when you remove that middleman, then you get these to this level of cost. With 3.2 billion users already in digital wallets, penetrating 40% of global population. Now, here in US, you're going to see that less and less. But if you have any exposure in the global market, so for example, in Pakistan, there is Jazz Pay, or Pesa, and similarly, if you go to African countries, most of them are actually on mobile digital currency systems, and they are moving very fast, especially towards the digital wallets and digital currencies as well. Because not per se currency, I'm going to talk to it about it. Again, these are confusing interchangeable terms, but what I'm going to say is that they are moving towards digital forms of payment very fast without the bank. As a matter of fact, some of them are unbanked, and therefore this is a very first realization where their mobile phones can be used as a payment gateway and a payment system and a store of currency, all of that in one. And this transformation, especially if you look at China, I mean, everything is already digital via WeChat, and Alipay. So they are literally gone. So there's no such thing as, Visa or MasterCard over there. There is basically Alipay. And there's another competing product that goes through. But the idea remains the same. These digital wallets have a significant way to disrupt the decentralized financial system we live in. So digital wallet users will be increased 8% at annual rate, penetrating 65% of global population by 2030. Honestly, if we actually do this better, I think these are conservative estimates. Um, because when you see the convenience that comes through, especially when we have, at least I have exposure to markets like Pakistan, where there is a lot of insecurity in the system, price insecurities, etc. More and more people are going to move toward digital wallets more faster, because it becomes a very part and parcel of their daily life in terms of fulfilling their needs. Especially most people do not have banks, so there is such a high population of unbanked or underbanked people that this is going to really create a massive opportunity. And not just creating, again, digital wallets, they can produce services like loans, etc., on top of that. So honestly, this is going to be one of the ways that we're going to see a massive, you know, change. And this is, in my opinion, a little conservative of a number, especially when you talk about global payments. If it was about US, I think we still have a long ways to go. 50% of the payment volume, potentially 450 billion to current 1 trillion in digital enterprise value by 2030. So clearly there's a huge way to go. But again, this is going to be a massive opportunity. Um, what we have looked at is digital wallet is gaining share in online and offline transactions. Online transactions, of course, is just no brainer, but in offline transactions as well, you're going to see that digital wallets are gaining significant grounds. 49% of e-commerce transactions, up by 18% in 2006, have been seeing that the global payment methods share of the global e-commerce volume is increasing. So if you look at just the credit card, so credit card is actually declining. If you look at debit card, it's actually declining. If you look at cash on delivery, that's actually significantly declining, because clearly we have an issue with that. And of course, all the other payments. And then finally, if you look at the digital wallet, it's actually increasing in value a lot as far as the global share is concerned. It's going from 2016 to 2021. So there's a huge upside to what they're doing. Global share of point of sale. So when you have this point of sale volume, for example, Square. So Square is basically considered a digital wallet system, which is now Block. And then of course they have the Cash App, right? So the Block as a company, which creates the point of service terminals from a sales perspective, and then of course the Cash App, which is the consumer, and that's one ecosystem. This is another ecosystem, and the ecosystems are combined. You can see that the point of sale volume is also increasing in terms of digital wallets. I don't remember last time I have to take out my credit card in the last 3 months. I have basically used Apple Pay, which is my primary way of paying. I mean, of course, it's connected to Visa and it's connected to different things, and it's also connected to loyalty programs. I refill my Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks card through that digital wallet. So my loyalty program sits in there as well. So clearly, we're going to see this as a massive opportunity of the future, and it's going to continue to rise because it's just darn convenient. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and find different cards in the system, and people used to do that. I mean, 10-20 years ago, as more and more things become digitalized, including coupons and all of that, we're going to see that this is completely going to be a new frontier in terms of digital transformation. One of the key aspects to understand is that they are scaling faster than accounts at traditional financial institutes, and not to mention that they're much cheaper. I mean, if you look at the overall cost of a traditional financial bank to make break even on an account, the account has to at least keep somewhere between $2,000 to $2,500 to make it what we call feasible. For digital wallets, I mean, it's much less. As a matter of fact, it's $150. If you keep a $150 balance, that basically becomes a break even point for these digital wallet companies. So Ark Invest and JP Morgan deposit accounts, as you mentioned, from 1990s all the way, it is getting stuck right here. Unique digital wallet users have been increasing as we see, and it is going to continue to increase without a doubt. And as I said, I think their projections are a little bit conservative in terms of what I believe is going to happen, especially when I see more of India going exactly where China went. And of course, Pakistan, Bangladesh, the SARC countries are going to follow. The whole of Africa, Middle East, etc., are going to continue to move towards them. One of the reasons is about the regulation as well. Then the second reason is that they don't really have a global currency that they can always rely on, like we have in the United States or Canada or Euro in European countries. So they are always requiring more transactions in terms of global availability, in terms of moving money from one country to another. So the more digital they are, it's better for them. So it's much more, even more convenient for them than me as compared to here in the United States to have a digital wallet. So I think that global trend is going to continue to move forward in moving digital wallets faster. One of the key aspects what I was talking about is this closed loop ecosystem, because one of the best ways is what you have seen is there, and I've given you example of Alipay, which has 18 million merchants. So they have the merchant and then they have the consumers. So Alipay basically serves both ecosystems of ecosystems. They're doing the point of sales for the sales, the consumers in terms of businesses, and then consumers in terms of clients. The both of them are actually interconnected through Alipay, and this becomes basically one of the best ways. And they don't really care at this point, right? 80 million merchants and 1.3 billion. They are not going to pay 2% to Visa for processing payments. They're just going to process the payments themselves. Same thing with Block, which is technically Square, if you remember, which was one of those credit card readers, and then Cash App, which is again one of the biggest places. And both of them, they're going to do the same thing. Same thing with PayPal, right? One of the best things about PayPal is actually 2.9 million merchants and 1.5 million consumers. And this is, again, Block is more about US, and PayPal is all about basically international market or global market. Alipay is about China, and then I don't know really, I don't even know what CAPSI is, to be honest with you. So clearly that we are seeing that ecosystems of ecosystems are developed, and this closed loop ecosystem, because there's a huge difference, right? Visa doesn't know if I got 2 potatoes or 5 tomatoes, right? They don't. But Square or Block knows that, because Square and Block actually also have the merchant information and also have the consumer information. So when they have both sides of the thing, when you add artificial intelligence into it, oh boy, this is going to be fantastic for them as far as that is concerned. And as you can see, they can actually do exclusive directly from CashPay app, and they can create what we call a new form of social shopping. So social media shopping is going to be huge. As a matter of fact, China is leading the trend in that, and we're going to see TikTok one of the ways that people are going to start buying stuff, because you like it, you click one button, it's going to automatically ship to you. And this level of interconnectedness with content as well. So you're going to see content and influencer marketing is going to take very important center stage as we move forward in terms of digital wallets, because again, when everything is stored digitally, then it's easier for it to process everything. Again, one of the key benefits is eliminating the middleman and enabling direct payments between consumers and merchants. So the over here is what's happening. The buyer goes to the issuer goes to the card network, then acquirer, then payment service provider, and then eventually goes to the seller. These are 9 steps involved in it, a total of 9 steps. This is ridiculous. But when you have closed loop funded transaction, what you have is like P2P transfer, ATM, or mobile check, or direct deposit into the buyer, digital wallet, and directly into the seller. All these steps are decreased. And once you have all these decreased, so the fees, the estimated intermediary fee of 2.6% is actually turned into savings of 2.4%, because you can decrease significantly this amount of expenses that you need for these services. And therefore it boosts margin, right? I mean, clearly, if you're going to have this direct savings, then these savings can increase the margin for who? This is not going to help the card networks, right? The Visa and MasterCard. This is going to help who? Basically the sellers, because the margins for the sellers, even 2%, that's reasonable, because if you are doing direct wholesales and stuff, 2.4% extra margin is going to be game changing for some of these sellers. So gross take rate is basically about this, and then Block's current unit economics percentage of transaction is 1.64%, and that take rate is 1.1%. And the more the blocks is being used, as it is going to be used, the overall feedback loop is going to start to decrease. And when that starts to decrease, they're going to actually end up taking a lot more money for block itself. And if they do transfer, and I believe they will, because that's how they're going to make sure that people keep using their services, as far as 1.64% to 0.21%, but you took your net take is 1.5% to 2.6%. So why the hell I will use block and continue to use block if they're not going to share that with me as a merchant? So there clearly is a way that these digital wallet providers are going to bring value for themselves, clearly, but more importantly, they're going to create value for the merchants as well. Closed loop transactions could account for more than 50% of digital payments. Now, this is exactly what, one of the prime examples here is Starbucks. I mean, technically, it sits on $1.5 billion of cash in their Starbucks mobile applications that people have deposited money in. That is the highest amount of cash in a non bank entity here in the United States. It's just ridiculous. What is it? It's technically a card in your digital wallet, right? That's it. You go in Starbucks, scan the card, and then they pay. You pay from that, get the rewards, move on. This is insane, and this if gonna be replicated everywhere. Best Buy is one example. Many other, Costco, etc. More and more of them are becoming digitalized. As they become digitalized, us the closed loop system is going to become extremely important, and there are going to be more and more systems directly attaching your bank account with your Costco membership, and then they save 2% or transaction fee or etc. They can just pass it on to you, or give extra rewards, etc. So this closed loop system is going to be significant when you're looking at least 50%. So there's one thing to say that digital wallets are going to improve. That's clearly going to happen, right? And I told you that. But this closed loop system within the digital wallet is also going to go exponentially in increase. So that's where this closed loop systems come in, and this is again a very big opportunity. And honestly, it's so convenient for the consumers that I would at least be one of them to use them on a regular basis. This is next time we're going to talk about public blockchains. Again, thank you so much for paying attention.